Hello, YouTube. This is BUB'S Comics. I am coming at you live with the No Faces comic chat. With me, as always, my friend, your friend, all our friends' friends. We have with us the great Roger, aka Metarog. Say greetings, everyone, Roger.
Well, greetings, everyone, Roger. I don't know why I'm talking in this voice, but greetings, everyone.
And additionally, with us, not as always, and yet just as enjoyable, we have Jambo Comics. Say, what's up, everyone?
What's up, everyone?
And we can't find DS. Where the heck is this guy? We've looked everywhere. We've been searching parking lots. We've been all over the interwebs. He only shows up at night. And we gotta change the time of our channel because he's dem there MIA. What's going on, everybody?
Not much, I guess, man. Just trying to suffer through the rest of this session without DS. You know what I mean?
Broadcast? Yeah, I got you. Yeah. And in the chat already, what's crack-a-lacking? We've got the unruly Simeon in the house. We got Rob Boswell. We got Arriere 51, Arriere from the frozen north of his derriere, saying hello to everybody. We got Werewolf by Lunchtime saying, hey, chat, what's shaking? And Gray Man said, sounds like bad news. Cue the Elvis music, Geek Aficionado says. He's looking for it. Keep the voice, Unruly Simeon says. He likes it much better, I reckon. He's dropping news on Major Disaster. That's about right. That's what we've come to expect on
pretty much. Yeah.
Comic Mag Musings is in the house. Super Russ 9000 is here as well. We also have Steven Spock. Good to have you. Prowler 671. Hey, Prowler. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to have you here. Unless, of course, you were here last week, in which case I apologize. We got Woody Warren in the house. And hey, all, how you doing? Doing okay. All right. Good to have James Gallegos. We got one of my favorite ones to shout out, Bigglesworth's in the house. Thank you all for joining us. If there's anybody I missed, it's completely your fault and not mine. So we'll move along.
Man, those 1,000 subs get to your head real quick, don't they? I mean, it didn't take but a couple days.
I think I'm at $9.99 again. Everybody's slacking. We got Metarog, of course, is in the house yet again. So glad to have you all. Now,
somebody got to keep you honest down here.
Good luck with that. It's quite a task.
Thank you. I need it.
Paolo Costa. I always want to say Costa. I guess it could be Costa, but I'm
Costa.
I'm going to say Paolo Costa. All right, Paolo, good to have you. And, of course, we are the No Faces Comic Chat. Glad to have you all here. We are once again DS-less, which is just, it's killing me. He needs to hurry up and get back, or we'll be stuck having more time with people like Jambo. So good to have I mean, good to have you. Glad you could make it. Always dem der pleasure. And so we got Mike W. Rogers in the house as well. The Jackson Roy Kirk. You know, when he leaves a comment, often I try to respond to people with their names, you know, that way they know I'm paying attention. And Jackson Roy Kirk, sometimes I call him Jackson, sometimes I call him Roy Kirk, but it is what it is. 1,000 Ks didn't get to Roger's head. Nope, it sure didn't. He's a good egg, even if he's a little cracked. So good to have you all here.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment, I'd say. I could deal with that.
I appreciate it. And people often ask, why is Roger always at the bottom? Well, you see, Roger's the last one to enter the stream. He usually shows up around 6:59 Eastern, and then continues to regale us about the last 15 minutes of his life, which can take up to 5 minutes, and therefore we're often late, and that puts him in the last time slot right there. So that's what happens there. Is that everybody concur on that?
Nobody's going to believe that one, bud.
That's pretty much what's going on.
No one's going to believe that one.
Yep.
Now, I was the last one today. Yes.
All
I was
right.
the last one today. Yes.
Everybody gets loaded up. You get loaded up in the order that you show up. That's how it is. Whoa, that sounded pretty good.
Yeah, it's like a drinking metaphor of some sort, but yeah.
Yeah, it might be. Well, it's good to have you all here joining us on this Dem Dare No Faces chat on a Monday night. Can anyone guess that? I'll tell you what, Jambo, since you are the guest tonight, guest hosting, pitch hinting, all that good stuff, would you like to go ahead and have Roger tell us the name of the chat?
Sure. Roger.
Yeah, thank you, Jambo, very much. I'd rather much hear that from you than from anyway. Yeah, we are the Marvelous Mentors, Marvel Mentors, one of those two.
Boy, that couldn't have gone any better there, Roger. I tell you, always amazed. Yes, the Marvel Mentors. So some people may be confused as to why we were having the this kind of show tonight. What we're going to be doing is discussing some things that we would like to, some wisdom, if you will, that we would like to impart upon the younger crowd of the comic community. And I'm really hoping that several people in the chat here will also join in and help us out and tell us some things that they would like to impart to the younger group. This was actually a requested topic. And the requestee, or is it the requestor? Which is it, Roger? Is it a requestee or a requestor?
Requestee, yes.
All right. So we'll go with the requestee was none other than Joey Bag-O-Sevens, who has been boycotting the show for the last 4 weeks because we did not honor his request then. So,
well, we're the requestees. I thought you were talking about us. We're the requestees. He's the requester. Yes, that's right.
Oh goodness. Okay. Well, I'll take your word for it.
I give you a lot of ammunition for those memes and things, whatever you call those clips. I don't know what you call those things.
Yeah, we got it.
Things you put up.
We're with you. The silly things we put up. It's this entire show, I believe. We got Bat Avengers in the house. Hey, Bats, what's going on? Werewolf says we can pretend he's young if it makes you feel better. I don't think that you're not going to get paid more for that. Jackson Roy Kirk says request store or is there an
told you?
I don't know.
Told you.
Gallego says he says he's in the young group. So this was that. Did I say who requested this yet?
Yeah, Joe Bag-O-Sevens, you said.
Hey, you're right. Yeah, it was. Good job.
No, I'm right. I just listened to you, unfortunately, on that one.
Hey, that's already quite more than I expect.
Yeah,
so
that's right. Hey, somebody's got to take the hit around here. You know what I mean? I'm not going to give this up to Jambo. He's too good a guy.
Poor Jambo.
Hey, Roger.
Yeah, man, you're trying to grow the community. This guy, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, trouble with triples.
There's some more of those patented memes that Roger likes so well,
or whatever they are, whatever they're called.
He's emailing them to me. It's really weird.
According to you, I don't communicate with you at all. So I'm communicating stuff now.
He types up the email on his computer, and then he prints it out, and then he mails it to me via the U.S. Postal Service.
Oh, snail mail. Yeah, that's
snail mail. And I get it about 2 weeks later. And I read it on air. So that's how that works.
I put it on one of those SD cards they used to have way back when,
Oh, yes. Not even the HD SD, just the plain old SD.
No, HD. Yep. HD, no. I don't know what that means. SD. That's as far as I go.
We're good with it. Hey, do request you guys can play at the Copa
Cabana.
By Barry
north of Havana. At the Copa. Hey, I'm Cuban. I know the song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been to it, to the Copacabana. I've never been to Cuba, but
you never been to Cuba?
Nope.
Have you tried to ask nicely? If they'll let you
in? They won't. I'm too much of a rabble rouser, Bub. So
troublemaker.
Yeah, that's that. They got me pegged. I even go. I don't even have to speak Spanish or nothing. I try to act like just like a regular. Not regular, an American. And they're like, we got you pegged. We know you're from Matanzas.
I believe it. Mark Knapp's in the house. GP Venom's in the house, and Mark Knapp's in the house. Wait, I think
Hey, Mark.
There might be an echo in here. Good to have you all. So yes, our good buddy Joey Bago Sevens was with us. He commented a couple of videos ago, and he said he wanted to know. He said, here's a topic that he'd like to see. Do any of you, or what advice do you old, we'll say fellas, have for us young fellas? The use of the word fella is supplanting another word that he used. But
gotcha.
Yeah, did you get that?
I got it.
All right, I was worried about you there, Roger.
Yeah.
So, in any case, we're thankful for the topic. So let's go ahead and get into it. I know that Roger is just up to the brim with good old fashioned advice. He gives it whether you ask for it or not. So surely at this point he should be pretty much ready to give it right now. So all right, Roger, hold on, let me make you big.
Gandalf, I tell you.
All right, Roger, take it away.
Well, could you give me like a more specific? I mean, that's kind of a broad category. Could you give me something a little more specific? And
I think the broad's working good.
Broad.
Put Linda. She's very distracting. Put her off of there, please. Put Linda away for now, please.
Okay. Well, I thought I was being more specific, but basically what he was wanting to know was, as far as comic collecting goes, what is some advice or tips or pointers that you would give that you have garnished from your lengthy experience in collecting that you would impart upon those who are just now beginning their journey into madness?
Oh boy, yeah, Russ, I know it's funny. Well, first of all, this is kind of Roger, right. First of all, this is kind of a tough question to answer because, to me, and if you want my advice, and I'm sort of going to give you not so much advice as much as what my thoughts are about that particular topic, and that is collecting. And I think you guys would agree with me, is a very personal concept quest to me. So when I to ask advice of me, I can only tell you what I do and what it means to me and how I formulate my ways of collecting. But I sometimes find it odd or find it weird or whatever, strange, or sometimes bordering inappropriate. I see these videos where people are telling you what you should be collecting and what you should be reading, and I'm like, why? Why are you going to be listening to somebody else's opinion about what you should be collecting or what should be reading? You have to formulate your own opinion as to what you should be collecting and should be reading. Now they can give you the information, like I do a lot in my videos. I share characters and my thoughts on them, but I don't want to in any way try to say to them that this is something that definitely this is something that you should be reading, because if not, you don't know what you're doing, or you're not really a collector or whatever. That's bogus to me. That just doesn't make any sense. So my first piece of advice is to be yourself. Do your own research, look at different genres, look at different creators, and based on what you like, what things that really talk to you, things that either make you nostalgic or move you in some way, and then take it from there and maybe branch out. But at first, I would say listen to yourself and not others. Just the information, not the opinion.
Okay. Well, if anyone else wants to leave a comment on one of our videos, Roger suggests you don't, because he don't like them. He says, no, thank you. It's already all gone downhill. He didn't like the topic. He's not going to participate. But all right, the real deal is that I agree with what you're saying, Roger, 100%. I think then your rule would be collect what you like, not just what people tell you to collect. I'm good with that. Yeah. But I think a lot of new collectors don't know what they like yet. So maybe Jambo can illustrate or mention to us in some way if he's ready. Are you locked and loaded there, Jambo?
I think so. I mean, yeah, Roger's pretty right on what I was thinking, really, to tell you the truth. I mean, yeah, you got to find something you like. And I mean, that's what's going to attract you to the hobby anyways. I mean, you're going to see something out there that you like and you're going to say, hey, I want to start collecting those. And I always found the best thing for me when I was collecting something, because I was kind of like a run collector. I would get me a list together, and anytime I was going anywhere, like a shop or a convention or something like that, you know, you start filling your list. But yeah, at the beginning, yeah, you just got to find something that you enjoy reading. It might be a title, it might be a certain writer, it might be a certain artist you like. But you know, you got to find something that you like, and then make your list and kind of go for it.
Well, I can agree with that. I think that all right. So here, I'll help you out there, Joey Baggs, since these two guys are just whiffing. I don't know what the heck happened. I should have given more than 72 hours notice on the topic, I reckon. So one thing that I would say is that when you start to collect, don't decide what kind of collector you are until you've sampled various kinds of collecting. You'll hear people talk about going through various phases that they've, you know, so at one time I was a run collector. Well, why? Why did you spend an entire time collecting runs? You know, was there a specific run you want? Then you hear people call themselves completionists, right? And you hear people say, well, I'm a golden age collector. Well, then you're completely disregarding all other ages. Or I don't collect anything past bronze or copper or whatever. Then, okay, I don't collect modern books. All right. Well, have you looked at a modern book? Do you still look at modern books? So my feeling is my number one rule in deciding what kind of collector or what kind of books you're going to collect is don't close off other types of books. You don't have to decide right away what kind of collector you want to be. You can decide along the way. You can choose a book or two. Keep looking. Like when I see someone come into the shop and they go straight to the back issues and then never look at the books on the wall, I wonder, are they missing something? Because at one time, every book in that back issue was a book on the wall. And some of those same people will spend 20, 30, 40 bucks on a book. So I don't think it's the fact that, well, modern books cost too much. Really, $5 or $6 isn't too much if it's something you really like. So I think that a lot of collectors kind of pigeonhole themselves into a collecting style very early on. And my advice would be not to do that, to kind of branch out, try different things. Don't decide you're a completionist and a run collector without ever reading an entire run, because you picked a run that was 100 issues and you've only got 40 of them so far, but you're a completionist and you're a run collector and you're going to collect them all before you even read the first book, because you'll end up with a lot of books that you want to get rid of when you find out you don't like the story, or you don't like this particular writer or artist, or you don't like this team on a book, or you don't even like this character. So that's my advice. Let's see what else we got. What do you guys think about that? Huh?
Well, I think I mentioned that. I think Jambo did too. That you're right. You have to sample things. You can't just like a lot of people start with the superhero genre. At least they did in the 70s and 80s, because that was the prevalent genre at the time. But as you start to sort of look for other avenues for your collection, you sometimes can go into the horror, or I'm not going to talk about romance because most that died off a while back, but sword and sorcery, or science fiction. Like me, I've only in the past perhaps 10 years really gotten into the martial arts comics. I've always been a fan of Master of Kung Fu and Karate Kid, but then I found like Yang from Charlton and Judo Master, and the Hands of the Dragon, which Unruly Simeon, A-OK to me. Thank you again. And I just really like the way that translates to the comic book medium. You know, what to me it's a better translation than for example the horror genre, unless it's very well done. It's a really good translation because it just speaks to me. Now, I know I'm in the minority when it comes to that because I get these books super duper cheap. I get no competition, you know. But that's just how my collecting evolved through the years to the point where now that is what I would like to focus on. And everybody, I think, probably Jambo will agree that you branch out, and sometimes you branch out and you find something you're like, wow, I'm going to concentrate on that for a while. And you do, very passionately, and then you find something else, and then you branch out into that other branch passionately. Collecting is really a lifelong journey. It's not a moment in time that you use, and that's the only thing you focus on. You really have to, at least in my experience, I found that you really expand in your collecting. The more you get entrenched in it, the more that you want to sort of branch out into other things that open your eyes to those other genres.
Yeah, and they're talking about some interesting things in the chat here about mystery boxes as finding ways to find new things that you didn't know you liked or could get into. It's a little further up there, but I saw also dollar books, picking up several dollar books. I think Steve said that. So, I mean, there are definitely lots of ways to enjoy discovering new things that you might like. I guess what I'm trying to say, here's Macedon saying, hey, go ahead and, not everybody's doing that. They're collecting books for a reason. And I agree. I guess my point is find that reason first. Don't let the reason be because you've already decided what kind of collector you are. Go ahead and make sure you like what it is first, go into it. See what it is that you like about it, and that may lead you to some other things that you like. If you're a Bronze Age horror collector and you're really enjoying collecting Bronze Age horror, there's a good chance that you're going to like some of the independent books that come out now. I don't think that Marvel or DC are doing very strong horror titles right now, but I do think that a lot of independent books are. So maybe if you're a Bronze Age horror collector and you don't like modern books, you just haven't given some independent horror titles a chance. And then also, like Roger said, there's also Golden Age horror. So if your wallet can stand it, you can look at some of that stuff too, if you like Bronze Age horror. So maybe you find what you like and branch out into something you didn't know you liked just based off the genre. Look at Chaos and Comics. What a bum.
My problem is I do like everything though, Bub. I mean, nothing in particular. I like a lot of different comics, and I started out really what is Silver Age now, collecting that, and I kind of worked my way into Golden Age. And I guess if I had to pick something now that I really like and enjoy and collect the most of, it's Golden Age stuff. So I mean, I guess, it evolves, and you'll probably change what you collect, over time and stuff. I don't think you particularly just stick to one thing and that's it. I mean, you usually find some other stuff that you get into.
Yeah, here's K-Dog saying that he loves the Cavewoman books that I show off, and he never heard about that title before that. And I tell you, a lot of the stuff, Roger was talking kind of about not feeling a little sheepish about telling people what to buy, what to go after, and instead just kind of talking about what he enjoys instead of giving that strong advice. Everyone needs to go read this book, and I agree with that. But if you're passionate and you really love something, I had never even really heard, I guess I had heard of them, but I had never experienced anything about the Metal Men before I found Roger's channel. That's a whole group of superheroes I didn't know anything about. I guess I've seen them before, but it didn't mean anything to me. And I've learned about them through his channel. And if I had not invested time and energy into watching his channels, which can be tough, then I would not have I would not have learned about that.
Was that an advertisement for your channel, Bub, or Roger?
Let me say, I don't disagree with Bub on this case. My earlier videos are tough watches. I agree with that. Bub, I don't think I think we're on the same page. I guess what I was talking about, I've seen some videos that seem to shame people because they don't read a certain series. That's what I'm talking about. Not if you're passionate about a series or a character, and you say, hey, this is something that if you're like me, you should be reading. That's fine. But but I'm saying there are channels that shame that if you don't read this, you're not really a collector or not really a comic book fan. That kind of aggressive and very negative kind of advice or statement, I think, is what I'm saying is I don't appreciate. But if you're just saying, hey, like you said, I love Metal Man, and you can sort of tell I do. I don't, I don't have to force it because it's something that was what got me into comics. And obviously you're a big fan of Cave Woman and the more, shall we say, salacious type of comics. That you're passionate about that. You're not into it just because of the prurient aspects necessarily, but you're passionate about it. I think that's fine, but I don't like it, and I don't appreciate people who shame because of you're collecting a certain way. I think that's just wrong.
I think so too, but there's definitely a lot of that goes on, not just in our YouTube community, but at the shops. If you stand around, hang out at the shops, people really get defensive about their way of collecting and offensive about it as well.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of people knocking people who pick up variants. I know some people with some amazing collections that pick up a ton of variants and really enjoy them and don't mind to spend the 10, 20 or more that it costs to pick those up. And, I don't know. I pick up some variants. I wouldn't call myself a variant hunter, but if there's a book that I like and it happens to be a variant, and the only way that I can get my hands on it is by, paying more than someone else may pay, in an auction or something, then it doesn't bother me to do so. I don't automatically have some reaction to it like, no, I'll never pay that much for this book because it's never going to be worth that much. Well, it's worth that much today, and if I want it today, that's the price. And that's kind of how I look at a lot of the more modern stuff that I do pick up. But a lot of people get really offended just at the thought of reading a modern book. Like, for instance, here, I had it up there. Here's a question for you, Roger.
Yeah.
And it comes from Chris at Chaos and Comics. He says, Roger, do you like the current Didio run?
The Metal Man, I have not picked it up. I actually did have intentions of getting that. But my local shop is closed and has been for a few months.
Yeah.
So my intention is to get it because a few people have told me that it's actually pretty good and kind of if you like the older Metal Man, that you would like the newer one. So I want to see for myself. Yeah, Chaos. I'd like to pick it up. Yeah.
So that's an example of the flexibility that I think is good to have. Because I know that for your Shang-Chi collection, you don't really like anything past his original story. So, right. And I understand that. I kind of feel that way about Wolverine in some senses. That I liked it. I was devastated when they killed him off, but I've been even more devastated since they brought him back. I'd been much much happier if they just left him dead instead of treating him the way that they've treated him since his return. So, but I did try it. I did read it and I was excited too. I was looking forward to it and I just got disappointed. And the next time another run comes out, I'll try it too. I'll be a sucker for the number one at $4 or $5 or whatever it is. So,
hey, before it gets away from us, can we shout out this great chat that's in here? 32 people putting up with Bub. I think
hey, Roger. They like to hear your voice. Why don't you go ahead, brother?
Oh, they do. Okay. Well, let's start with these guys are just, I love these guys so much. We got here. Hi, Leah Raul, my buddy from South Florida. He's like a younger brother to me. We got Rod the Rican, another Latin brother from down there in Florida. Of course, we have. Well, yeah, I got a lot of brothers. Yeah, maybe not blood brothers, but we are. Our bond is close to blood. Let's put it that way. The Mastodon's in here. Donnie, great guy. Love this guy. This guy he sent me an AOK out of the blue, and I don't love him because of that. Just because he's such a great. He had that
Keys
great
to Roger
stream.
Hart.
He had that great stream with Raul. They talking. These guys are they're Renaissance men. They know music. They know movies. They know everything.
Yeah.
Of course, we got Chaos on Comics. Thank you for being here because you keep Bub in line and
don't thank him. He'll keep coming back.
I'm not only thank him. I think I'll sneak him in I'll sneak him in the back door if I have to. Where with my lunchtime?
Get away with saying that, Roger.
Yeah, well, like computer back door. I gotta be careful because you take everything out of context, Bob. Jimmy's in here, our past guest, obviously. Kenny, your 1K brother, essentially. Kenny got it a couple days before you did, and here he is supporting you, Bub. Look at that. Yeah, like butter. Yeah.
Thanks for the support.
And we said Paulo Costa's in here, Pete, GP Venom, Russ. Now, Russ, I wanted to talk about Russ. Russ is he's very close to 700. Okay.
Oh, nice.
And I'm gonna put his link down here. Let's get him there because at that point his contest will be over and I can win a $25 Amazon gift card. Okay. What? So thank you. Yeah. That's Bub talking right there through me. That was like ventriloquism. No, but really sub him up if you haven't subbed him up. Really cool guy. He's now trying to get Scarlet Witch's first appearance, which is what X-Men 4, and he's really been up in his game lately, and he has great edits on his videos. I thought they were really good today. K-Dog, we already shouted you out. Thank you for being here. Mike, we already talked about him. I love Disney and comics. Steve, beautiful, beautiful person right there. Man, he's got some good stuff. Rob Boswell, great guy, really funny. Let's see who else. I think we said Woody Warren's in here. James Gallegos, my buddy from New Mexico, and Mark Knapp, the best moderator in the stream of mine back then. Is that enough hedging? And Comic Noob, welcome. I think we got everybody up to the point where you shouted about. Oh, Paul's in here. First edition comics. How you doing, buddy?
Here, and then also Hialeah is heading out. He's got to do Comigories, which that's
Hialeah's on something every night, so he's always got to go somewhere.
Comigories doesn't start for like another hour and a half, so he must need to really prepare. I think he's got to get the Vaseline on the inside of his Lucha Libre masks.
He's got to grease all the short boxes. Make sure they slide in real quick.
Oh man, well, it's good to have everybody here. It's gives us that nice, warm, fuzzy feeling here in the community. Makes us all feel good. So thanks again. Who knows what you were going to say, Roger? Because you didn't, and instead you said the chat. So what was it? Do you remember? Anybody remember?
Oh, about what? About the current topic? No. Listen, I just say this. I think Jambo is I think sort of touched on it, and I think it's important, right? That you do sample a lot of different types of just comics and related things, right? Because I also suggest that you maybe read up a little bit on comics. There's the Steranko history of comics is great. The top 50 comics of all time is good because it sort of tells you a little bit about the historical aspects of it. I have a couple books over here. The comic book, which talks about mostly older comics, but it sort of gives you at least a thumbnail of what comic books were, what their place is in society and pop culture, and maybe in reading that something will sort of click and say, hey, I'd like to check out, maybe Dell Comics, that they did almost a show on TV back in the 60s and 70s. There's a Dell comic about it, or even you might want to check out some of the Harvey comics if you like more like Richie Rich and Little Lotta and Little Dot and all that stuff. Any kind of comic book that you want to is fine. Even if it's one of those kiddie comics, we were all kiddies at one point. John's Comics and Kids on Saturday. There he is. he was talking with his daughter, and they were talking, and she was reading about Richie Rich, and I said, hey, that's what I read when I was a kid, but obviously as I said before, we evolved. I grew into other genres, into E-Man, which was sort of a transition between that kind of whimsical kind of comic, but with more adult-like situations, and then ultimately into superhero, horror, martial arts, sci-fi, etc.
And that's all good stuff. I really like, I don't know, the martial arts for me is harder, but I've never been like a real big like kung fu movie guy. Mm-hmm. So, and like you said, it's a very good translation. To me, the sci-fi was an easy translation to me because it's just fantasy. So it's just a brand of fantasy. And I've always really enjoyed that. And to me, all superhero books, are kind of a brand of that sci-fi genre. You're getting these people hit with experiments and things like that are happening. So that's why when it starts getting into the cosmic realm and the magic realm, those things, they interest me a little bit less. So like the cosmic books, the cosmic characters, and the magic characters interest me a little bit less. Although I do like Spider-Woman. So I like a few from all the genres, I suppose, but I like the more, superhero, born in a lab kind of stuff. Those interest me more. In fact, I don't like the big teams as much either. About the only one that I enjoy would be X-Men, because I like the premise. The whole world is set with mutants, but then once you mix them in with the rest of the Marvel universe, it kind of loses something for me. Like the Fantastic Four are just 4 people. If there's in the same universe as all the mutants and all the, X-Men, then it loses a little bit of something to me, because I liked it better when they're the 4 most spectacular people,
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah. The premise is good. You're right. The school and how they're sort of like the best students, of the school. Right. I think that was a good premise. Yeah. And the professor, obviously. Yeah.
I kind of like the old Marvel team ups for the reason that, sometimes, they had Spider-Man most of the time, but sometimes you got some oddball character that you wouldn't normally read, and you would read them in that story and you would think, oh, they're kind of cool. So that would kind of expose you to somebody that maybe you wouldn't normally read and enjoy, and start liking them that way. I found a couple of them that way that I started getting into after I read, the team ups and stuff.
Yeah, I want to thank Silver Age Dave for sharing this chat in his community tab. Roger says my community tab will be up and running in about a week as soon as I give him $20. I don't really know what that has to do with anything, but we'll see. I'm going to mail him a used gift card and see if he notices for a while.
Well, the $20 is not required, but that's only for the information to calm your nerves that, yes, they're not going. You will get it eventually. You don't have to sweat it. You don't have to look at your, community page for another 5 days or so.
I appreciate it. Hey, Perry Comics. So we've got some more people rolling in. We got Perry Comics in the house. We've got From Heroes to Icon, if we didn't mention them already. John's Comics with Kids. Bake the Snakes in the house. Good to have you, buddy. I just want to thank everybody for sharing a little bit of time with us. And if you can't stay for the whole night, well, then you can catch us on the replay. I watch a lot of stuff on replay. Count Von Strange in the house. Man, some great people. Thank you all for joining us. We are discussing a simple topic. What do the old folks have to say to the young folks when it comes to comic collecting? And both Jambo and Metarog have basically abstained from this topic. I think on the premise that they don't want to be called old.
We have not. Listen, we have not. Just because the answer is not what you want to hear, Bub, does not make it any less valid. Okay. Sorry. But, there's one thing that I do want to talk about. And Jason from Heroes to Icons was talking about it. And he says we should all definitely show. Can you put that up there, Bob? We should all definitely show our personal collection, and to focus on what makes us, not males, makes us, I believe is what he's saying, who we are, not only hot and trending.
Who said it?
We have From Heroes to Icons.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is something which, I guess this could be controversial. But again, what I said goes for this as well, right? If this is what you want out of the hobby, then that's fine, that's valid. It doesn't make sense to me, right? As a collector and as a reader, but there are people who only collect those hot key issues, first appearances and the whole bit, high grade. Again, that doesn't make any sense to me. That does not make that any less valid, but that's just not the way I collect. But
I mean, sometimes there are very stark opposing viewpoints. I mean, right here we have two right here. We all know what Bake the Snake does in his downtime or uptime. And then we have over here, don't read comics on the grass. So you have two people clearly meant to be at odds with each other. We just got to make it work,
Oh, man. Don't draw on your comics. That's a good one. Well, yeah. I mean, unless you're an artist and you have one of those blank covers, then it's encouraged, right?
Oh yeah.
They had the old Fun and Games comics. Remember those?
I have several. Yeah.
Those. Yeah.
What are those? I don't know about those.
Yeah. It was back in the 70s, wasn't it, Roger?
Yeah, late 70s, early 80s.
Marvel did a couple of those things. Had puzzles and games in them.
Yeah, it had like I'm sure you've seen it, Bub. It didn't have comics per se, but it had comic characters and it had crosswords and mazes and fill in the blanks, things like that. And in the cover, it usually had a puzzle, which you were encouraged to do. So.
Well, like Chaos is saying that, okay, so he's saying he collects all kinds of stuff, basically everything. He likes everything. And you can tell that because if you ever watch his channel, every single comic he reviews gets a B- or better. So he really has a high threshold for pain and cringe. So we appreciate that. But I can tell you that for me, there's certain books that just don't do it for me. Sometimes they're cover buys, but like the Western books, I have a really hard time reading those. They kind of morph all together. I'll read a whole story and then I'll like, what did I just read? What just happened? And it always starts off with somebody in a bar and it ends off with somebody riding a horse. And I don't know what happened in between. Like, did he meet the horse at the bar? I just don't know. So I agree. Certain genres, I still try them every now and then. The romance ones, I think the covers are pretty interesting sometimes, especially the older ones because they're kind of like shake your head moments, But other than that, I pretty much like most of the genres okay. But yeah, romance. And you know what? I don't like war books. I found that the covers don't even do anything for me. So like I see a lot of people picking up, some Golden Age War, even some Silver Age War books, unless there is like Namor throwing a torpedo at a U-boat, then it doesn't really do it for me, Yeah,
but that's really superhero during wartime, not a war comic.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of over time you do find the ones that, and I've tried a few. I've picked up a few war books and read through them, and even some of the artists. I really like Russ Heath, and he's got some great war covers. But in the end, they don't end up staying in my collection. Like I pick them up, I look through them, and I say, yeah, they're just not for me. And one tip that I'll give to younger collectors is that you can like something and still not have to have it in your collection. You can appreciate the art. You can think something looks cool. You can think it's really neat, and you don't have to own it in your collection. And that's really hard. That's a hard lesson to learn because early on, you're picking up everything you see in a dollar bin because it's $1. The first time you come across a quarter bin, you're like, how much for the whole box? Like you're doing the math. I can just buy all these books, can't I? Because it's only a quarter. So, but at some point you realize you really don't need to own all these books, unless you just really want to. I know Roger's like having a conniption over here, but for me,
why don't you? Sure you do.
Yeah, I realized that was a turning point when I was, I'd say growing, but changing, I guess, as a collector. Yeah, that's right, Gray Man. To me, I just found out that when I'm reading a book and enjoying a book and the stories are great and everything, but I don't have to own it. I could just kind of enjoy it in the store and say, yep, that's a cool book and move on without having to buy it. and save my money for things that I really can't move on from and have to have. So anyway, that's one thing I'll say.
Is there a lot of modern stuff that you are hooked up with, Bub, that you like to read regularly?
Look at Silver. He's totally offended by the idea that you don't have to own every book, because Silver, he runs his collection off memory. So he goes in the shop and he's like, I don't know if I own this book, but if I do, I probably only own between 1 and 5 of these books. So I'll just go ahead and pick a 6th one up just in case, and I'll make room for it somewhere, Yeah,
he's got lots.
Yeah.
Now that's another way that you can really, have a long range of titles and genres, is to be a Silver Age Dave and just buy whole collections without really knowing what's in there, and something might strike your fancy in there. Like Scoons Comics bought that comic book store. He's got a lot of Dells and Charltons and Westerns and war comics, and he found some that he is enjoying.
Yeah, he's also A-okaying the crap out of some of them.
Yeah,
which is really
true.
nice, and selling others. It's funny to me because often I'll approach people and like, hey, what are you gonna do with this book or that book? And I find myself buying from a lot of people that are A-okaying to other people. Like, what's going on? Like, am I paying for all this shipping for everybody else? What the heck? But anyway, Scoon's a good guy. He hooked me up with a few books. So that's how it is, though. I agree. Jambo, you asked is there any modern books I'm reading?
Yeah, I mean, when I go into a shop now, I'm not really picking up much modern stuff, but I try to find, a thing or two every once in a while just to read so I'm not missing anything, and I just, are you reading anything in particular that you're dedicated to and get every month?
I mean, reading would be a stretch. There's books I'm collecting, not necessarily reading them. I was collecting the Star Wars books that I showed last week to make that set of 37 covers to put in a binder, but that got put on hold. I am collecting it and reading the current Wolverine run, but I had already stopped my pre-orders before all this happened. So although technically I haven't missed an issue, I did not intend to get any more. I was going to read them digitally instead. And that's something else that I have found that I like the digital reading. I would almost recommend to someone, and it's hard because I've not done it myself, but if someone were new into collecting, I would almost recommend them to get a digital subscription first, just for a month. I mean, 30 days of flipping through as many different types of books as you'd like could be really helpful to see what kind of stories you like, what kind of artists and writers that you enjoy before you start a physical collection. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I think, for instance, when you buy, say if you're a movie collector, right, and you're buying Blu-rays and DVDs, a lot of times you've already seen the movie before you buy the physical copy of it, right?
Right.
You went to the theater, you watched it, or maybe you saw it on cable or whatever. Cable, is that even a thing anymore? But anyway, you saw it.
I have it, so it must be.
You saw it somewhere, and then you bought it because you really liked it. And so I would almost encourage people. I say almost because I've not tried it, but I think it would.
I've not tried it either. I'm the quintessential old guy in this chat because I haven't read my first digital comic yet. I just haven't done it. I like having them in my hand, and that's why I don't have many slab books, because I like getting them out and reading them and smelling them, and
Oh yeah, Jambo, you're killing me, man. You're killing me. That's what I love to do myself.
From Beantown. Hey, I like it too, but like for instance, I picked up a couple of Golden Age. Well, actually, a Golden and a early Silver. And sometimes the smell of the Golden Age books irritates my throat. Like after I get through the first few pages, like my throat gets scratchy, and I just believe something in me thinks that I'm like breathing in this 80-year-old dust. That's
exactly what you're doing. That's exactly
the comic somebody had in their sock drawer.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
Listen, you don't go in there like a pig and start wallowing in the comic, bub. You give it a sniff.
Don't snort it.
Yeah, that's right. It. You give it a sniff at a few inches away. All right, you don't go in there. Again, these guys they take things a little too literal. you don't actually, you sniff it. You don't. It's not like a scrum that you go in there and you have to tear things apart to get into.
That's what you think.
Now, if you do that to one of your, what I mean, comics, that's up to you. That's no judgment here.
What I mean, comics.
No judgment here, right? I'm just saying, right? But
well, so like that's kind of what Jambo was saying too. Like, do I read any modern books? I don't know about reading them. I mean, some of the Cave Woman books I thumb through, but they're usually
we're both buying those just for the covers now, though, right?
Absolutely, I just buy the Bud Root covers, and then I ignore the interiors because they're terrible anymore. But like, for instance, I found the Cave Woman books just because I was going through a pre-orders list and I was picking up other books, right? Mm-hmm. And then I just happened to see a cover of a Cave Woman book, and it was, of course, a modern one. This is several years ago, and I saw the cover and I just like, wow. I said, that looks like my wife. I couldn't believe it. So, and it was actually a book, and it was around my birthday, so I guess it was almost even a few years back. And my wife had got me a a gift card to pick up comics at mycomicshop.com. So I was like, okay. So, and when I found that book, it was, how the modern ones are, like $15-16. So I was like, okay, I think I'm going to get this. And I said, but there's a nude chick on the cover. I was like, does the fact that she looks like my wife, is that good enough? Like, can I get away with this? Like, what does this belong in my home? Like, I didn't know what to think about it. And so I sent a picture of it to my wife and I said, hey, you're about to buy me this book. What do you think? And she was like, wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, I get it. And she was like, well, why do you want it? I was like, because it reminds me of you. She was like, oh, yeah, I get two. So that's what happened. So that kind of started it. And then that's why pretty much, if you notice in my collections, most of the time, the books that I get are Cave Woman books specifically because they remind me of her, as opposed to just really the only nude books, if you will, in my collection are all from the Cave Woman line. All the other books I have, maybe they're racy covers and they're, low cut kind of stuff, but they are not, none of them are nude except for the Cave Woman books. So, but anyway, that's my story. How did you get into collecting those, Jambo? Because you've got quite a Cave Woman collection yourself.
Yeah, I back in the day, I just happened into a shop in Lexington, which is no longer there, and they had some of the kind of racy manga stuff, and they had some of the Cave Woman thrown over there with that, and I seen them, and I was like, hey, caught my eye. The Bud Root art, really. I mean, he's really, I mean, everything aside, he's a great artist.
Oh yeah,
and does good work. And yeah, I seen that, and of course, I was all into good girl art at the time, and that was just right up my alley. I just like, yeah, I'll take 10 of those. So.
Yeah, one in each color. Yeah, that's how I felt about them too. And then I kind of got hooked, and then I realized that the older stuff really had good stories and interior art too. Mm-hmm. So I started picking those up and kind of building the collection. And then when I got my commission done by Bud, that was a big deal too. So it was a lot of really cool going on. Matt Forge Comics in the house. Whoa, nice to see you, man. Welcome.
Jambo, somebody's asking who did that Dr. Doom cover. Is that Colin?
That's Gene Colan, yes.
Gene Colan, okay. All right. That's what I thought, but I just wanted to confirm with you.
Larry Lieber on the inside.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, that's
Roger's not a big Stan fan, or Stan's brother fan, I reckon.
No, Roger, look, man, I've got something for you then.
He did. No, I'm just kidding. He did some nice westerns.
This is a print signed by Stan.
Cool.
And his brother Larry.
Wow, look at that. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. Lieber, actually, I actually did like his stuff, especially his westerns. I thought were really well done. So.
I mean, this wasn't bad. I mean, some of his things were okay.
Yeah.
They were adequate, but yeah, he was never my favorite. But yeah,
no, I mean, he's okay. Not upper echelon, but he wasn't not bad at all. I wouldn't say that. I was just messing with him. Just messing with him.
Good stuff.
He was no Gene Colan.
No, it was no Gene Colan. You know, it was no Buscema. It was no Kirby. You know, and then then he went to Atlas during the 70s too, which was I don't that might have been a little contentious as well when he went there with Goodman, but
yeah. Good stuff though. Overall, I do like a good Doom cover. He's one of my favorite villains for sure. I like the hyper focused villains. You know,
is he a villain really? He doesn't think he's a. He doesn't think he's a villain.
They never think they're villains, but he's a villain. Nobody thinks.
Talked to him. He talked to him. The heroes are the villains.
Yes, of course he does.
He's trying to save his mom's soul from the netherworld, man. He's a good guy.
Right.
Yeah, sure he is.
He's protecting his people.
Whatever.
Oh man.
Well, all right. We've beat a bad topic to death. Thanks, Joey Bags, for all your help.
Not a bad topic at all, I don't think.
I tell you, he offered up 2 topics. That was the better of the 2, so we won't even think about the other one.
Dare we ask about the other?
I didn't even remember it was so bad.
I don't think it's a bad topic at all. It's just a hard one to really define in the way that it's presented, because it's there, it's almost like saying this is the kind of wife you should have, I mean, it's very personal to everybody. I mean, what one wife may be like the pinnacle, like the apex, like the top, may be the doldrums to another man. So
everybody's got their own things they like and their way of collecting and stuff like that. And my favorite thing about collecting was always the hunt and going out and looking for stuff, and you find something, you're really proud of it, and you want to show it off, like, hey, look what I got and stuff. But it's kind of sucks now because we're not able to do that at all. So, but everybody's got their own way of doing stuff. But you just got to find something you like. I
agree. Get out there and get your feet wet. That's my favorite example of what to do. But I think it's funny though that you hear a lot of older collectors will say, right? And they'll talk about this massive collection that they have that they primarily bought off the rack, when it came out. And then when you see a new collector doing that, buying everything off the rack and, treating it like it's gold, and they're like, oh, those books aren't worth anything. It's like, well, all the books in your collection weren't worth more than the quarter you paid for them back then either,
That's right.
And now some of them aren't worth that,
Right. We're like comic snobs. But I mean, there's a lot of books that I used to see in dollar bins that are high dollar books now.
Yeah, like all the Atlas books you were talking about. Yeah.
Right. I wouldn't even fool with them, I mean,
Listen, Jambo, you probably got to agree with it. Night Nurse, right? Night Nurse.
Yes. Yes.
Listen, you wouldn't be caught dead with a Night Nurse in your collection in the 70s. Okay.
Flipped right past it in the dollar bins, back in the day,
Those things were in dollar bins and quarter bins forever. Nobody, again, some people would not even, they wouldn't want to touch them, so they put them behind the boxes,
I mean, and now, She-Hulk 1, right? I had one, but I would never go out of my way to get another one, back in the day. And Savage She-Hulk, and I mean, now look at them. I mean, what are they, $100 for one in very fine or near mint?
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, that's why you never spit up, because it'll come down on your face sometimes.
Right.
and a lot of people are doing the same thing. Oh yeah, that's beneath me. That if you're collecting that's what I was talking about. That kind of shaming mentality.
Mm-hmm.
When we're all trying to get along, we're all trying to get on the same page and enjoy each other's collections, but then at the same time, sometimes somebody does something, you're like, why did you get that? Why'd you spend money on that? Do you need help? Like, do you need help? Like, I want to be your friend.
Do you need an intervention?
It just happens that way.
Yeah, sometimes I think I've got a problem. I just buy stuff to be buying it, I think, because I tell that to myself sometimes. I'm like, why did I get that? Why did I even have this in my collection? What is this?
Right. But, I do the same thing. I mean, I that's what when I sold a few weeks ago with Kenny, I really purged a lot of the stuff that I said, this stuff that I'm not probably never going to enjoy. let somebody else enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so and then now when I buy something, I ask myself that same question, Jambo. I don't want to buy just because it's a hole in my collection, unless it's like a long time hole, like, you know, from a Silver Age hole or something like that I actually want to fill. But if it's just something in the 90s that, you know, I'm kind of like, well, I'm missing a few things. I'm like, did I really enjoy the previous and the post issues? The answer is no. Let it go.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Deadpool and stuff, but I still can't make myself buy those Rob Liefeld issues, man. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I'm with you on
That's
that
fair
one.
too. That's fair too. And like I have my whole collection of Wolverine, right? From issue 1 to death. All the volumes. And as I'm reading the stories, I'm already in my mind thinking, this little piece of the run was a keeper. This little piece of the run someday is probably going to leave my collection because it was a terrible story. It had bad art, a crappy cover, whatever. You know, when you collect that many books, you're not going to really love them all. I don't think you can love them all as a whole, but each individual book is not a winner. You know, it's just
no. I mean, again, that's a difference between like a run collector like Jambo and I, because, you know, a movie. Look at a movie. Not every single second of a movie is superlative. I mean, maybe there are some, but very few, right? But you're not going to say, well, I'm going to see the movie up to this point, then I'm going to skip 5 minutes and see the rest, because it may not be enjoyable, but it's still critical to the rest of the movie. So that's how I look at, you know, the runs. Okay, maybe it's not like the best. I mean, they changed the artist, they changed the writer, whatever. But if it's critical to, you know, understanding the whole concept of it, I still want it. But I the one thing I could not stand was like the Human Fly is the one big hole in my Bronze Age Marvel collection, because I cannot stand to see it or read it. It's just so horrible. I had to purge the whole thing. Okay, but that's the only exception.
I don't know why you're dissing the Human Fly all of a sudden.
Not all of a sudden. It's been gone from my collection for a decade or two.
Wow.
So, there it is. Yep, there he is. Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
How did you not like that book, Roger?
Listen, I see no redeeming qualities in that comic whatsoever.
Look, this book is artwork. Look at that.
The artwork.
He's on top of a plane. He's skiing down a waterfall or tightrope or something like that. He's hanging from the crotch from a helicopter, Roger. Really? Like that doesn't I mean, we don't know who's operating that helicopter, but my guess is that they're working that stick pretty hard. So I think they're doing a real good job.
Yeah, Bill's right. I have issue number 2.
A shark? Come on.
Yeah, no, that cover is Bronze Age, you know, sensationalism 101, right? But Human Fly 2 is the only one I have because it has a Ghost Rider appearance, and I have all his appearances. So I have that one. But everything else, but I purged that one initially too, but I got it back. But again, Lee Elias art. There's I forgot who did the horrid writing in there. I think I blocked it. I think there's Springer inks in there.
So you might feel bad though, Roger, when they release that Human Fly movie.
Not at all. Not in the least. It could be the next blockbuster. I still would not go back to that series. No way. It's not worth the torture.
Wow, because don't miss it. I love that. I sent a copy to McD a while back. Don't miss it.
No, Steve, do not send me. Do not send me Human Flies. I better not find Human Flies in my mail from this chat. Those will be returned.
Look, here's the interior art. Look, some more of that joystick action right there. I mean, I don't know what you guys are complaining about. That is a high-flying adventure.
Is that Frank Robbins art in there, or is that Lee Elias?
This is done by the Jamestown Elementary 3rd grade art department.
Now, don't insult all the art departments like that. Who did that?
Lee Elias.
Lee Elias. Okay, all right.
I like Lee Elias. I can't believe this is a bad one.
I like his covers, you know, from previous, from the
art's not bad.
Please look. does any body contort like that? Is this guy like triple jointed everywhere? I mean, come on.
I'm triple jointed some places.
Listen,
it's a true story.
Sounds like a personal problem. I mean, that's
oh no, it comes in quite handy. Thank you. No problem at all. I like how he's used that same face like 4 times. Like if you go, back through the issue, that exact same face.
Yeah.
He like copied and pasted it like 4 times. It's great.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Such is life.
Hey, classic. Listen, if you like Human Fly, more power to you. I don't, that's all I can say. But again, different strokes for different folks. I'm sure that's somebody's favorite series. Just me, I find it excruciable, but that's just me.
Oh well, I give up. I just can't.
Fly, no respect.
No respect for the Human Fly.
No respect. And they even tried crossing over with Ghost Rider, Daredevil. Nothing. It went down the tubes fast.
They got you to buy an issue, didn't they?
I bought the whole run.
Wasn't he in a giant size with Spider-Man also, or was that somebody?
No, that was the Fly. That was that was a villain Fly. Yeah. But no, I bought the whole run because again, at that point I was young and I was foolish and I just wanted as many Marvel comics.
It'll get better. It'll get
better. And after 18 issues or whatever, it got worse. So I jettisoned it.
I agree. I think they said that should be the next issue on Graders Notes. So we can hear Roger tell us how bad it is for 1 hour and 58 minutes.
I do not want to read that issue again. If somebody picks it, I'll do it because that's the show, right? But it's not going to get good grades. It's gonna not at all. Not 0.
Yeah.
I'll be Mr. Miracle for that episode.
All right, guys. Well, we tried to entertain you with this topic, but it turned out to be a stinker. Thanks again, Joey Bags. Couldn't even show up for the dumpster fire he started. What a bum.
Hey, dumpster fires are underrated. They can be quite entertaining.
Whatever. I'm mad. I love it. Roger's so good at those impressions.
Hey, Jambo started it. I just was following along.
Sure he did.
Oh, I have that one, Jambo. That's a pretty cover there on that whole.
I was digging through these and found my whole collection, but I couldn't find my number 1. I was really bummed about that.
I think it was Rampaging Hulk back then. Oh, yeah. It is. Okay. Yeah, okay.
That's a Starlin issue.
Starlin. Right? Yeah, I can tell by the buggy eyes there.
I'm not crazy about that Hulk, I got to tell you.
Yeah. This one was pretty funny. It's wore out. He's got like the flat top going there.
Oh yeah,
Frankenstein-ish. The old Frankenstein cut, isn't it? Yeah. A lot of people rocking that cut when this quarantine's over and the barbershop.
The back of my hair is going down my shirt in the back, man. It's so long.
I got news for you. That's your back hair going up your neck.
No, the back hair goes sideways. This goes down. Trust me. Gravity's taking this one way down there.
Sure.
See, Don thought it was a good topic. I'm with you, Don. See, Don is just
all right. Thank you. We appreciate that. We'll take pity. All right, you guys are awesome. We can shut her down early. We all gotta get ready for Comigories. It's got to be better than that All-Star episode they had the other night. Just horrible. No,
Bueller came to play, didn't he?
It was Big Bueller won, didn't he?
No, Bueller was lost on the last one.
Yeah, he came to play.
He should have won. He should have won that last one.
That Robbie guy, I would have voted for him more, but there were several that I abstained from voting for because both entries were so terrible that I just refused to give either one a vote.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm sure Bub was like, if I was in there, I would have annihilated them.
Anybody who's ever
trampled them
before, win, lose, or draw. I believe Russ, without coming back to the camera with a book for half the show, could have won.
Oh, definitely.
That's what I'm going.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I'm going for. Old Russie boy. Let's get him over 17 subscribers or whatever we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, let me put him down here one more time because I mean, I think that Russ has really upped his game, and everybody needs to subscribe to Russ.
Yeah. C. Woodard's in the house, man. Good to have you.
That's another guy that does not get as much love as he should be getting right there, because this guy knows his stuff.
The Comic Core guys. Yeah. What's interesting to me is that I don't know, some of their channels have kind of been stagnant because they put so much content on the Comic Core, which is nice, but for their individual attention, I think C. Wood, like, as much as I enjoy the Comic Core, there's like 4 or 5 members that to me really stand out, and I just really enjoy their content, and I kind of got to put up with the other guys to get it. So whereas on their individual channels, I don't have to. So, you know, it's kind of like when people all flock to your channel, Roger, and only come here to support you and have to put up with me.
No, so, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case. But C. Wood has a good channel in his own right. Really good stuff with his reviews, his signatures. I'm not a signature guy, but man, he knows when he gets a signature, he knows up and down everything about that comic and why he wanted a signature on it. And he's got the little sketchbook thing too. The what do you call that thing? What do you call that thing?
His signature album.
Yeah, whatever that is.
He calls it sketch album.
Yeah, that's cool. You've seen that, right, Bub? When you were at the
it's heartbreaking. Like, I look at it and I'm just so in love with it. Now, what's funny is that I thought of him the other day because someone else showed a similar sketch album, and I won't say who it is, largely because I can't remember who it is. And if you're the one that showed it and you're in the chat tonight, I apologize for what I'm about to say. Kind of. So what happened was that they were showing the sketch album, and they were going through it, and the guy, like every other sketch or every other signature, he didn't remember who it was. Somebody sketched this. I don't remember who. Here's the signature. I can't quite make out anymore. I don't know whose that is. And there'd be big signatures on there, like, you know, ones that cost money for sure, and some really nice sketches. No idea who they were. Now, he had a bunch that he did know, but man, it was hard to watch. I'm thinking you got to write something down on the back of.
Was he an older guy, Bob? I mean, sometimes us older guys forget stuff, you know.
I mean, he had such a big book that he'd been collecting this for a while, you know. But it's just like, man, you got to write down what some kind of key to it, something. Got to do something to remember who these people are. Otherwise, why'd you bother? You know.
Well, it's still pretty to look at, but yeah, I mean, certainly you would want to know who did it. That's
a page full of signatures, and I don't know who half of them are. For me. I can't do it. So, but anyway, good stuff.
You could send it to one of those signature verification people, and maybe they can figure it out.
If anyone doesn't like any of our expressed opinions on this show, just send your hate mail to Roger at metarog.com.gmail.yahoo.aol.com. Pretty sure is that it?
Yeah, no, I don't know what it is anymore. But so far, so good. No hate emails have come my way. I do have 2 trolls though on my channel. So
only 2?
Only 2. I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good.
I think
that's
all right.
I think it's, you haven't arrived unless you have at least 1, right? I figure. So if you guys get all thumbs up, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, I pick them up and drop them every now and then. Every now and then I get a new one or 2, but they usually disappear after. If you don't give them any attention, like I don't even thumb down their comment. I just leave it and I just don't respond to it, and then eventually
I do the same thing.
They move on to somebody else.
Same thing. Yeah, I do the same thing. I don't mind it at all. I just wish it was somewhat constructive instead of just,
Yeah. So. Well, everybody, it's about that time. This is the time where Roger starts. What? Roger's getting a knock at the door. What is going on? Oh my. Well, Roger's getting a visitor. We're gonna have to let him go. He's got important things to take care of.
Yeah, it's a good thing my wife doesn't watch this because
who, yours?
Yeah, mine, of course.
Your wife doesn't watch the show?
No, I don't see why she would.
To support us.
I don't see why. Does your wife watch it?
She used to.
Well, but you see, I mean, point taken. Point taken right there. Listen, she hears what I say. She's like, I hear you already. I don't have to listen to it again.
I know. Sometimes she hears my half of the show or my third of the show by hearing what I say. And that's good enough for her. But we all know it's quarter after. Roger's got to go park the dog. It's been chasing him all around the room. So we appreciate that. Let's see. Jambo, you want to – yeah, you have a sign-off. Go ahead. Let's hear it, Jambo. Oh, wait. What do you got going on your channel? That's what we're supposed to do.
Okay. I'll have a haul video up this weekend. That's about it. I haven't really been doing a whole lot. Been taking care of some stuff for the family and things, and haven't got a whole lot of comics in lately. But I'll have a haul video this weekend, and that's about it.
Yeah,
cool.
I enjoy the haul videos. We need more of those.
Yeah.
well, when it's quality stuff like Jambo gets, I definitely want to see that. Yeah,
appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, number one tip I have for new collectors: watch YouTube and subscribe. That's great, man.
Yeah,
and you'll find a bunch of stuff that you can't afford, and a few things you can, and then you buy those. So that's how it works.
That's dangerous for the pocketbook if you watch too many of these channels. Yeah,
or you're not supposed to steal your wife's pocketbook. That's rule number 72.
Well, that's why I said your pocketbook. I didn't say your wife's pocketbook.
I don't have a pocketbook. Do you have a pocketbook?
It's a figurative term, Bub.
It's a figurative term for a pocketbook.
Term.
I was just checking on you, man. All right,
like purse strings.
Send me a DM. Let me know how you're doing.
Does anybody have a wallet anymore? I mean, everything is digital.
I got a wallet. I don't have a pocketbook. All right, let's see. All right, Roger. What do you got on your channel? Are you spending anything out of your pocketbook on comics these days? What do you got going on?
Yeah, I here and there, I do. Not as many as most people, but I do get something when I find good bargains, things like that. But I'm going to try something kind of new maybe tomorrow. I don't know how well it's going to fly, but I'm going to sort of go and start like my top 5 reads for certain categories. I haven't quite fleshed out what the plan is for it, but like, let's say my top 5, sword and sorcery reads in my collection. And again, this is in my collection because I obviously don't have everything. And I don't want to, think that, hey, I'm leaving things out, right? Because I'm probably am. So I'm going to start that as a series, I think once a month, see how it flies, and ask people, for categories, things like that, and see what they want to, if they want to hear about it. And then of course we have the roundups every Thursday. We got a few more contests I already found out about in this past few days. And I have not been doing entries, but I will be doing one for next weekend for sure.
Nice. I think I'm going to be announcing my 1,000 subscriber contest giveaway soon.
What?
Yeah. I already have. I know.
Giving
I haven't
stuff away, man.
Huh?
You're giving stuff away?
I know. I haven't done a contest in forever, but I had a couple of things I was going to send out in AOKs, and I thought, let's make them work for it. So
let's make them work for it. Oh, Bob.
Life's hard. Nothing's easy, right?
That's right. Hey, I'm going to cover the shipping. I'm gonna, unless they are, it's going to be free shipping, or it'll be free pickup, and then all shipping I'm going to split with the winners.
Free pickup. Oh, that's magnanimous of you, Bub.
Well,
that's everybody drive to Kentucky to pick it up free, or pay $15 shipping.
Yeah, and you got to find your own way. Like, I'm not giving directions or anything, so you're gonna have to.
Holy smokes, man! I mean.
Oh, well.
Is this a giveaway or like a scavenger hunt?
Yes, that's you got it, Roger.
Bub's 1K scavenger hunt. If you can find me, you get it. If you can't, tough.
I think I may use that.
I think you found a loophole there, Bub.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna do the 1K giveaway. There's a selection of doubles that I've been picking up for the last couple months, and so I'm going to go ahead and let those go for a big giveaway. Say thank you to everybody, and then I still got like 150 books that I'm looking to offload. So don't know what to do with those. Thinking about doing the old pop-up shops or something like that. but not big books, just run fillers. But probably gonna let all those go unless Jambo wants them. Jambo, you want 150 comics?
I don't know if I can find your house, man.
Well, it's gonna be tough without directions. But
just follow the gunfire.
Yeah. How about that? I'll set up 150 bucks. I'll let you look through them, and if you want anything out of them, then you can have them for the low price of I don't know, lunch or something. You can take me to lunch, and you can have 150 bucks.
All right,
so
that's a deal.
What he doesn't tell you is all the restaurants are closed. So
yeah, but you can get lobster to go. So it's not a problem, Roger.
Man.
I've thought of it all.
Yeah, look at these people. Oh, use human fly as your prizes. And,
there you go.
Oh man,
right there.
Yeah, I think you're going to get a bunch of AOKs, Roger.
I better not be getting human flies. Do not send me human flies.
Everybody said, Roger, you're human flies. He loves them.
I have to be careful what I say because when I say stuff, people like. Sometimes I'll find stuff on my doorstep, so I have to be careful. No, please,
everybody loves you, Roger. They're going to send you all of them now.
Don't send me stuff, please. Oh man.
All right, guys. Well, enjoy all that. So be on the lookout. I'll have a couple more hauls. I got a great set of books from First Edition Comics. So I bought one and he sent the rest. So pretty cool. So I'm going to send that out.
Great.
I'll probably post that on Wednesday. And then I think I've got a couple other things I've picked up too that I'll probably post Friday. And then next week I'm going to do my 1,000 giveaway announcement and have it ready. I might do it Friday even and have it rolling. And I'll tell you the details, Roger, so you can put them on a Post-it note of honor. It's been a couple of years since I've done a giveaway, so this should be fun. And I already know what I'm going to torture people to do for me. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be multiple prizes, and there's going to be multiple winners. And as I've done before, also one of the winners will be skill based, not luck. So, everyone likes to do these luck based contests where you spin the wheel and you get multiple entries and stuff like that. And I like that too. But I'm a little bit more competitive than that, and I want to reward that in others. So one of these there will be a random prize, but there will also be one that I personally select. So as a winner. Wow. So see how that goes.
Is that like finding how many Wolverines you have and all that?
Now this one's going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to have a specific category into which you have to suggest to me a book, and the book that I end up buying based off that person gets a prize. So
well, that's great. That's a really good idea. Yeah.
Yep.
I like it.
Criteria by which that has to be met.
There's no way I'm winning this one. I can tell you that right off the bat.
Oh, I don't know. I think it might be right up your alley. It's going to favor people with a broader knowledge of comics. So.
Yeah, but I don't know. I got a feeling that somebody knows you much. Knows the way that you think that. I'm not saying I don't, right? But I mean more in depth than I do, and then they know you're a little because you have a certain je ne sais quoi about the way that you.
Hey, I don't use no pocketbooks, brother.
I know you don't use no pocketbooks. I know the way you approach things is very different than the way I approach things. That's what I'm saying, and so others may have a more similar approach. That's what I'm saying.
All right, we'll take it. Well, we've been saying goodbye for 15 minutes now. Roger just won't say the bye part, but we'll see how it goes.
I wonder if there's any slabbed human flies out there.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Anybody slabbed any of those?
I'm sure there are. There's a 35-cent variant on those too.
Oh, there is.
That's
somebody slabbed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Conquistador's Javi showing up. This guy, somebody's got to pull him out from under a rock. He's been hiding under, man. We don't care how long your hair is, Javi. Come play with us.
Metarog, what'd you just call me? Was it you, Javi? Human fly, 30-cent variants. That's all I said.
All right, guys. Let's get out of here. Scott Neely. I did miss it. Yeah, you did. Sorry, Scott. Good to have you here, though. All right, everybody. We'll catch you next week on the No Faces Comic Chat. I'm signing off for everybody. Jambo, go ahead and say your toodles.
See you guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for checking out my channel.
All right. Thank you. And Roger, you go right ahead as well.
Okay. Oh boy, here we go. Yeah, great chat as usual, guys. Bub, I'm speaking for Bub too. We are and Jambo, of course, today. We are very blessed to have guys like you that are have so much knowledge and know so much about the topics that we're talking about and say your opinions. It really makes this chat what it is, not us. We just sort of float around ideas, you know what I mean? So anyway, I know Bub will say that I'm rambling, and he's right. So everybody be blessed and be back.
All right. Thank you, Roger. And I'm just going to tell everybody to read a comic and don't apologize for the glare. We'll catch you next week on No Faces Comic Chat. Bye-bye.